All right. Good morning, everyone. And you know what day it is today? It is National Scrapbooking Day, and I am so happy to be the first one on. And I just want to welcome you to the activities we have going on today. Prima has been brainstorming now to come up with fun ideas to do on this day. And we know it's more than just national, it's actually international for us because we have a global team all over the world, and we have tons of people from all over right here on the chat today and on the classes, and we want to welcome each one of you. So on our blog we called it the International Day today, so just we want to include everybody. So anyway, I have a couple announcements, and they're just about what's going on today and a couple big announcements for Prima too. So you know today's National Scrapbook Day. If you have not heard that, you might have been under a rock this week. It has been everywhere well, I've seen it everywhere, and I'm like, I have NSD on the brain. So we have a blog hop going on right now, and it just kicked off at 9 o'clock. And I put it together, and I kind of went through and checked everyone's blogs. There's a couple we might have had a time conversion mistake, but they'll be up to date. And there are prizes hidden throughout the blog hop. So you got to go and hop along. Be inspired by everyone. I only put peeks on the blog because I want you to go over to the people's blogs and see their full projects there. And there's also a huge prize on the Prima blog, so make sure you comment on that. Carrie and I have prizes to give out throughout the day on our social media and on the Live with Prima classes, so you got to come back and stick it out with us today. We're going to have a party all day long. After I'm done, each class is an hour, and then you get a half-hour break to run and get some brownies and a coffee, and then come back and kick your feet up and have more fun. Carrie is going to follow me, so we're going to switch roles. And then the whole schedule for Live with Prima is posted on our blog, which is prima.typepad.com. It's on Facebook, and it's on the Live with Prima Facebook page. If you have any questions, Carrie's going to answer them because I got to get going. Next up, I wanted to mention the Prima Design Team call. So we open that up every year, and hopefully we have some of our design team members on right now, and they can get on the chat and just tell you, I think it's a great experience. I love working with the design team members. They are amazing. And you know what? We're always looking for new talent. You do not have to have a name in the industry where you never know what Prima is looking for exactly. So try out. And that closes in 2 weeks, so you need to get your entry in. Every year I get emails from people who missed the deadline, and they meant to send it in and then they forgot. The last little announcement I have is Art Venture Anaheim. And if you enjoy what Prima does and our new products, Art Venture is where it's happening. Denny pulls these art ventures together, and he gets brand new product that's just going to be released, and he has an amazing lineup for Anaheim. There will be 6 teachers, so 6 fabulous classes. They've only announced 5 of them. The 6th one's going to be a surprise. I don't know when that's going on. Denny's really good about keeping secrets. And you can contact him for information. We have a payment plan. It's right before CHA, so it's in a fabulous location at a fabulous time. Maybe you can combine the two and make a little trip out of it. Denny's email is denny@primamarketinginc.com. Carrie, I'm going to put her to work, so it's my time to boss her around a little bit. So she's going to pay me back next class. Watch. Carrie can put the email up, though, for Denny, and for Art. There's a link for Art Venture. You can register already. And last year it filled really quickly, so it's a very popular art venture. All right. Are we ready to scrapbook? Okay. Yes, so see, I've already used 6 minutes. This is the art journaling pages we're going to do today. And let me know if you've never done art journaling before. You know, I don't consider myself an art journaler, but I love some of the mixed media techniques out there. I love playing around with some of the art mediums. And what I did for this class is I kind of married scrapbooking to art journaling. And you know what? It's a page about my daughter's wedding. Get it? Married. Punny! I know my kids would be groaning right now. But what I did is I printed out some photos from their wedding, which I just got, so you're going to be seeing that. And Kat Markham did the photography, and she lets me use them for my scrapbooking, so I just got to give her a shout out. I just added those into my pages, and I'll probably do some personal journaling and maybe add some little strips or something. But since the class is only an hour, you don't need to see what I want to write about the wedding, right? So this is what we're going to do, and let me show you real quickly. I used one of our Finnabair art journals, and I actually taught this class in Paris. But you can see that it's traditional scrapbooking mixed in with a little bit of art journaling here and there. And when I teach, I put notes and stuff not to do on this side, so you might want to ignore that. But you can see there's pages. There are white pages, which is what we're working on today. There will be clear pages, more like traditional and pocket page scrapbooking. And then craft pages. It's a really cool journal to just go and play with. There's pockets in the front and the back as well. So let me go ahead and we're going to scroll that camera down. I tried to go slowly so you don't get seasick. Okay, maybe up a little bit so I don't have to stretch too far. Alrighty, so let me just show you. Finnabair has two different art journals. Let's scoot that out of the way. This is the one I'm using today. It is 960209. Not only am I going to scrapbook upside down, but I'm reading numbers upside down. It is quite the art. So if I mess up, that's why. She also has this adorable little pocket art journal. Not really a pocket, but it could fit in your purse. It's so cute. And they're the same inside. And I did not use this one today, but you could definitely use this one too. And this one has some pattern papers inside. The white pages, the craft pages, and clear. So both art journals are perfect if you want to create a little book and kind of intersperse your scrapbooking with your art journaling. And the number on the little one, just in case someone asks, is 961022. And there's the difference on the size. Isn't that cute? I know people are going to have questions about the art journals, how many pages and stuff. The big one has 12 craft, 2 plastic, 12 white sheets, a pocket and a sleeve. And the little one has 10 craft and manila sheets mixed, 3 plastic sleeves, 10 printed sheets, a pocket and a sleeve. All right. So we need to get moving. So what I do is when I teach, I tell my class to pull this art journal apart in the back and slide their pages out. And then when I put it back together, I kind of leave it loose so that I can get my pages in and out without wrecking the spine. Okay, but what I did is I pulled the pages out ahead. So this is what we're working on right here. And the first thing we're going to do is pull out our gesso. And where is my foam brush? So you want to get a big brush and gesso. I love the gesso by Ranger. It's in Claudine Helmus line. It's I just love it. It's thick. It's very white pigment. So that's what I'm going to use. And what we're going to do is gesso 2 sides of our pages. So, exactly like this. This is so easy. Anybody could do this. So, why do you need to gesso? Well, it's plain paper. And you really don't have to gesso, but here are the advantages. So I'm just going to grab a little dab like that, and then I'll talk while I paint. Gesso is a primer, so it's kind of like if you have bare walls in your house after you build, it's better to put a little bit of a primer on there, and then when you go to apply your paint, you are going to have a much smoother, more beautiful effect. And that's what I see with the gesso on these pages. You will just, your art mediums will apply more smoother, more evenly. It's easier to spread things around. And I think my foam brush is breaking. It like just went wimpy and limpy on me. Oh well, I'm almost done with it. He says, you got me up too early this morning to do crafting. So just give a nice little coat to your page. And you want to do that on both pages. And it will curl a little bit. Gesso also kind of protects the paper from absorbing too much wet medium. So when you have your gesso on, you don't have to worry about other sprays and stuff really crinkling your paper. So we want to set that aside. Let me just wipe up. I'm going to actually try and clean behind myself today. And then I won't have gesso all over everything. Alright, so that's going to dry, and today we're just like the cooking shows. We show you how to make the cookie, put it in the oven, and ta-da! Look, it's dry already. Haha! Okay, so these are gessoed, they're dried, and you see they flattened out. If you're worried about it, just once they dry a little bit, stick a magazine on it for an hour or two, and then come back to play. So what we're going to do is get out our sprays. And I'm going to use 3 color bloom sprays. I have peony, and that is the wrong one, pearl white, and gold. Sorry, they look the same in the container, so we want gold foil because we want it to be sparkly, okay? And I'm just going to make sure I shake these up really well. And we're going to spray directly on the gesso. So let's start with peony. And you know what? While I'm shaking these and you can't really see anything, let me show you. I just got some new colors in this week. Oh my gosh. This one is Iris, and I'm not a purple person. Carrie can tell you I collect all my purple flowers and mail them out to other people. But this is to die for. That is the cutest color ever. And then, this is one of my other favorites. Glistening Waves. Isn't that cute? This would match Seashore really, really, really well. I wish I had had that when I taught the Seashore class on Tuesday. And then here's another one, Sorbet. I mean, seriously, does this not brighten up your day? So, those are just 3 little sneak peeks of some of the new colors that I was able to get my hands on, and they have been shipping from Prima the last couple weeks, so you got to get out there and get some color bloom sprays. I do not like purple, and you're going to be really shocked. This is just for Carrie. My page for the blog hop today is purple. Speaking of which, I got to show you. Everybody on the blog hop did a 6x6 inspirational page. Look at that, Carrie, purple. And I had it here to show you, and then I forgot. So everybody did inspirational quote, and mine, I made this for my mother-in-law because, well, I wanted to do something for Mother's Day, and my mom is not with us anymore, so I did this for my mother-in-law, and she is amazing. So that's a little sneak peeky, okay? All right. Let me grab the sprays, and I just knocked a bunch of stuff off my table. You think everybody needs a huge scrapbook table, right? You think you got enough room, and then you fill it up. And I cleaned my whole table off just for the show, and I make one move and I knock everything off the edge. But what we're going to do is we just want to spray on one, and I'll tell you why. We're going to take this one and anything else I might spray, like my phone, and move it out of the way. And you're just going to go for some full coverage here. there is the peony. Let's add in a little bit of the gold. I don't want a ton. And I like to do triangles when I'm adding colors and kind of keep it maybe towards the outside. And just to lighten it up, because I don't want it really, really bold, I'm going to add pearl. Let me just spray. I actually didn't shake this one up, and I need to. Whenever you have the color bloom sprays, you should always tap this little tube to knock out anything that dried in the tube, and then shake it up really well, and your sprayers will not clog. So a little tip on the pearl, it's going to lighten anything that you think is too dark, okay? So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on. And we are going to take a stencil, and this is our bamboo stencil. We're going to put this over the page, grab some paper towel, and a little comment about the paper towel. You can get really cool texture on your page with your paper towel. This is Bounty, and I love this pattern. The only thing you gotta be careful of is when the Bounty word gets impressed on your page, cover it up with something. Because I had that happen to me and didn't notice it, and it's like, my page shows a little Bounty symbol. Okay, we're gonna press this on top and just lift a little bit of the color bloom through that stencil. Okay, it's kind of a really cool technique, and we'll see if it works today. Yep, it lifted a lot actually. And what we'll do now is, I hate wasting anything, and I know there's color bloom spray on the other side of this stencil. How cool is that? See, there's color bloom spray. So I'm going to set down the other page and stamp with it. Now, you're not going to have a ton on there, so it's not going to be as bold as the other page. I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure and let that color bloom get a chance to adhere to the paper. And we're going to lift that up so you have like a reverse effect. And I kind of call this my resist stamping. We pulled a resist off with the paper towel, and then we flipped the stencil around and stamped with it. And I'm just going to throw that in my bucket of water I brought. And then we're going to go to the next step. So let me just wipe this up. Any questions on that? Spray, set your stencil down, add paper towel, and then flip your stencil over and stamp it on the other page. So here's the page we have, and what we want to do is take another stencil, because we're going to do multiple layers, and I just got some new stencils in, so they're really cool, of stars. Tree's going to hate me for showing these because I'm not telling her the numbers. Sorry. Most of these are from Finnabare's Elementals line. Aren't they fun? The one I just used is a Prima stencil from Winter CHA, so it's brand new. But these are so cool. Here's one of Prima's brand new stencil. This is really cool. I love this one. I think this is so cute for certain pages. And then circles, of course. So I think I'm going to take, what do you think, the circle one? And we're going to go ahead and layer it on top of this page that we have. Sorry about the crinkly noise. And we're going to go ahead and add more color, because you're going to just get it the way you like it. And I know I want more color, and I want more pattern. I want multiple layers. And, oh my gosh. Okay, so I will quit talking so much and scrapbook more maybe. So there we go. We have this look. We're going to take that off, set the other page on, and then do that stamping again. This time we did not lift the color off. And you know, if you dry your pages in between, it won't mix as well if you like a cleaner look. So there we go with that look. And that effect is so, I love reusing that stencil because otherwise you would just wipe all that off. So why not grab another page in your journal and get a reverse effect like this. Now, every time I do art journaling and I try to reteach the techniques I did the first time, everything turns out differently. So it's going to look different than my page. I used different stencils. I did use the bamboo one, but I also used a different stencil on top of that. And so you're going to get different effects every time you spray just because of the way the sprays mix and everything. So what we're going to do now is go back with our colors and add color where we think we might not have enough. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I kind of like this side lighter than this side. I think it's cool, and I always like do a spray of pearl to kind of blend everything in. Now we want this to dry, so I'm just checking. Oh, I didn't add any splatters. You know, you can do splatters with these sprays too. All you do is press your nozzle a little bit and then let it go, and it. Okay, so it's hard to show on camera. Press it in a little bit and let it go. And, well, you don't want to spray the whole way like I just did. But if you do that, it's going to squirt out little splatters. And you can put them wherever you like them on your page. So, I think I might want to dab just a little bit of the pink off on this page. And that's the cool thing about art journaling. There's no right way and no wrong way. You're just going to make it look the way you like it. And I did not want that much gold, so see what I'm doing? I'm going back with the pearl and kind of lifting a little bit of that off. Okay, any questions on that? I have to dry it real quickly before we can go to our next step, okay? I used, on my original page, I didn't use any yellow. I used peony and gold foil and pearl white, and it really, the colors might be different just based on how much I sprayed then to how much I sprayed now, and that's the only difference. And this time I did use a different stencil on the second one, so the effect overall might be a little different. But this is the fun thing. You can customize this for what you like. You're going to pick colors you love and patterns you love. And you know what? Worst case, if you do a page you hate, flip it over and start again. It'll be great. So we're going to get this dry just a little bit so the colors don't muddy up too much. And normally I would dry in between each layer, so that I had a little bit more control over what was happening. And this time I just kind of sprayed away multiple layers. Okay, now what we're going to do, and I hope I'm not going too quickly, but you know, I only got an hour, and my boss is watching, Carrie's watching today, and she'll be texting me. The next thing we're going to do is take this liquid acrylic, it's eye zinc, and it's so cool. I have geranium and saffron, and I have gold. And what I'm going to do, and this is a good tip for anyone who's scared of certain media, or you really want to have a little bit more control over how it's going on your page. New media sometimes scare me, and that's okay to admit that, right? I don't want to just put it on my page. What if I hate it? So I want a little bit more control over that. So I'm just shaking up the geranium, and what I'm going to do is put a dropper right here on my sheet, my craft sheet, and I'm going to take my paper towel and kind of dab that around, and then I'm going to apply it where I want the bolder pink to show. And as you can see, it's also going to put your paper towel pattern on that page. So that's cool when you have a patterned paper towel. You could also do this technique with bubble wrap or a sponge. I'm trying to think of what else you might have that's textured that would just leave kind of a generic texture on the page. I love this paper towel because it almost looks like a textured stamp. And yeah, the paper towel is going to absorb some of that color, but look how cool that is. It has a really fine pattern to it. All right, so let's repeat that with saffron next, and then a little bit of gold because we love sparkly, don't we? It's going to put a bit of glimmer on there. Now this saffron is really bright. When I first put it on my page, it scared me because it was so bold. It's not, because I was going for a very soft romantic look with this design, and this color scared me a little bit, but to tell you the truth, I love it now. I love the effect it added to the page. All right, and then one more with gold. Any questions on this? You know, I don't know who makes this. It's Pigment Eyes Ink. Whoops. It works so well for layering with our color bloom sprays. Yeah, I definitely got this page a bit darker than my original, and it's because I did not dry in between, but that's okay. Every page is going to be different, and that's all good. So here we have our pages. They're sprayed and stenciled, and then we added that liquid acrylic. And what we're going to do now is take, well, I do want to dry just a little bit. And while it's drying, I'm going to pull out my stamp and multitask here. And I can talk about what we're going to do next while this is drying. So I'm going to pull out my resist chalk edgers, and these are perfect for mixed media. And I'm going to use the teak wall, so it's a dark brown. And the number on this set is 892333. And the reason I love this is because whatever technique you do with the resist chalk edger, you can then layer on top of it, and it's not going to smear it. So it's perfect when you're doing multiple layers and multiple textures. And I have a texture stamp, and this is a Prima stamp, and I could not find the number, so don't hate me, but I know it's Prima for sure. But a texture stamp will add a nice romantic touch. I think it adds like a little shabby chic touch to your page. So I'm going upside down here. We're just going to randomly stamp that. All right, if it's not showing up, pick a darker color ink. Mine's showing up, but it's really light because my page is a lot darker than my other one was. But that's okay. So you want to, we're just creating multiple layers, which will create a lot of additional texture. And it would be really cool if you took multiple stamps, and you don't want them to be too busy, but they will just add a lot of dimension, not so much dimension as really a lot of interest, a lot of layers and layers, so that your page starts to look like an artsy project. So normally I might go back and add some more and pick another stamp, but that, you get the idea of doing that. It's kind of cool. So now we have multiple layers of sprays and the acrylic and the ink and the stencils all on the page. So we're ready to take the next step. You guys staying with me? we have a doily stencil, and we want to get out our molding paste. And if you've never used this before, you are going to fall in love with it. So what we're going to do is just put some doilies on around the page. And I think I'm going to do maybe 3 doilies on each page. But I never like to take the whole doily and put it right in the center. I think it's more visually pleasing if you take and put parts of it on. So that's what I'm going to do. And I use old hotel keys to put it on. You can also buy a palette knife if you want to be artsier than me. I just love this because it's just very flexible and it works really well for kind of squeezing that paste into that stencil. And this is a really detailed stencil. It's just going to leave such a cool look on your page. So that's basically, you see how easy that was? And look at how cute that is. So scrape the extra off your table, move your stencil to another spot, and have at it. So you want to do this on both pages. And I always try to scrape up that extra so I don't have a mess. And then, you know what, on this page, I'm like flinging this stuff up everywhere. This page, I might actually combine my 2 pages. How cool will that look? I think that's really cool. I like that idea. And kind of bring them together. And when you do a double page spread, I think it helps the pages look like they go together better. We'll see. If I hate it, oh well. I think I like it. You guys like that? Oh, so this page is done. I have my 3 doilies. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And then we're going to finish this one. So let's go off on the side here. I'm still using that first scoop of the modeling paste. It just doesn't use a lot, and it's very easy, and it cleans up so nicely. And then let's go off a little bit like that for the last one. Any questions on this one? You guys are probably know how to do this. This is just a wonderful, wonderful technique. I know a lot of people already know how to do this, but it's so fun. It adds so much texture to your page. So let's get that scraped up, and then you can see the pages side by side. And you do want to clean that off of your stencil right away. You know, I work in my scrap room. I don't have a sink in here, so sometimes I just bring in like a tray of water and throw everything in there and then clean up when I'm done, and it works really well. I don't wreck anything. Alright, so we need these to dry. So while these are drying, I'm going to go get our embellishments. So here's what we're going to do. I have, let's move these out of the way actually so I don't wreck them. I have my pictures printed out. You know, I just left everything laying around. Sharon, clean up behind yourself. I'm actually a really neat scrapbooker. I like cleaning up all the time in between every step. It's just not doable when you're teaching. So here's what I have. I pulled out some stuff that's going to add a romantic touch and be add a little bit of texture and interest to the page, but not overwhelm it. So I have Prima's trim, and this is the medallion trim. I love this, and what it comes on a roll. What I did was cut it apart. So we want to use a couple of those. I have cheesecloth. If you've never used cheesecloth before, you can get it in your craft store and maybe even a generic store in the canning section. It comes on a roll, but it's great. It's light and airy and fun, and it works well on art journaling pages. And then I have some generic ribbon. It's sheer and it's just beautiful. And it's, look, it's feminine. It works really well for this page. So I also have my 3 pictures, and what I did is I printed them out on my scrap pieces of photo paper. So they're 2 by 2, 2 by 2.5 by 3, and I think this one is 2.5 by 3.5. And it doesn't really matter. You can make them whatever size you want. And what we're going to do is take our pages. I think I might have to zap them a little bit to dry them, because we don't want to wreck that pretty stencil we just did. And while I'm drying it, I'll just see if you guys have any questions. The stencil I used was Finnabair's doily stencil. It's a 6 by 6. She has 3 different designs, and I did see them available online when I was looking at them this week. Thank you, Carrie, for looking that up. The light molding paste or modeling paste, I've heard it called both. I've heard it both ways, to quote Psych. It usually dries really quickly on its own, and it's lightweight, and it holds such a beautiful 3D shape. Normally I just kind of let it sit and dry on its own, and then while I'm picking out embellishments, because you know that can take forever to pick out what you want to play with. You know what else I want to pull out? We are going to use Something Blue's flowers, which is perfect because this is like a wedding line. And we are going to use, oops, I'm going to stretch a little bit, the Something Blue wood icons, which are so cool on art journaling pages. So those are a couple other embellishments we're going to add to the page. And I think that's all we have on there. But you know, when you're embellishing your pages, you can put on whatever you like. It's going to be so much fun when you customize yours to kind of fit your personality. So here we go. We have our pages, and I think I'm doing these upside down, so they actually go like this. So just so I can get going, I want to put the pictures on, or the lace on. I gotta look. These go on first. So let's cut these apart. We want at least 3 of these. And I try to do everything in an odd number, and 3 is a good number, right? And I'm going to glue these on with Fabri-Tac just because they're thicker and I need them to stick to the page. The other stuff you can put on with like a matte medium and you'll be good to go. So let me just take a peek at my page and see what I did here. Okay, so we want to put one here. This one, I'm going to go off the page a little bit there and then cut what I didn't use and stick it down there. So I guess I only used 2. So that's one way to save a little money. But you can put as many as you want on. It's good. So I'm just tapping out a little bit of the Fabri-Tac on there, and then I'm going to cut this one off, and we're not going to waste that. We're going to add that to the bottom of this page. And I know my glue is still wet. Ideally it would be dry and you get a really clean cut. I'm hanging by a thread here. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and stick this one down at the bottom. And let's get the glue back over here. And just line it up right there. So art journaling is good for using scraps. See how cool that looks? They're just kind of running off the page a little bit like that. Well, your page should go like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and throw in our cheesecloth and our ribbon and our photos. So what you want to do is just cut pieces And if you want to pull it apart a little bit and fray the edges, that is cool too. And we're just going to put these, I think I had a bigger one down here. Let me just cut that. I don't want to cover up too much of the doily. So I like to set everything out first on how I'm going to use it, and then actually go back if I like it and glue it on. I call it my dry run, because there's times when you put stuff on and you just don't like it in the end. So we want a little bit down here, and then I have a longer piece that goes underneath the photo on that one side. So let me cut off this, and I think this is too big, so we're just going to do a haphazard cut here, because it doesn't matter, you don't want your cheesecloth to be perfect. And that might even be too big. Pull some of that apart. See how cool it is pulled apart? This is so fun to play with. Alright, we're kind of going to put that there. And this down here. Whoops! And it's really light and airy. It adds a really cool effect to your page. Now, what I did to put these on, I used multi-medium in matte. It's just a gel. It's a multi-medium gel, and it works really, really well for putting stuff like this on an art journal where you really need it to be stuck down thoroughly. So spread your multi-medium out, put your cheesecloth back on, and this time I'm going to squirt it right on the brush so I can get it on those edges. And that's it. See how easy that was? Same thing here. Let's go ahead, and I think we could just paste it right through the top. I don't think you need to do the 2 steps. There you go. So if you love cheesecloth, it's super cheap, and once you buy a roll, you're going to have enough to last you a lifetime. Seriously. As soon as I put this on, I'll show you how big the roll is. I found mine at Hobby Lobby, but I've seen it everywhere. And people used to make cheese with this. That's why it's called that. Just so you don't laugh at me. I am from Wisconsin, so I know a little bit about my cheese. But that's it. I usually like to eat it and not make it. So that was my roll, and you can see it's going to last forever. So we got our cheesecloth on, and now we're going to go to, let's put the pictures on, because I think once you have your photos, you can kind of see where to put everything else. Does that sound like a good plan? And the photos I'm going to throw on with Fabri-Tac, and I might just have to flip this around real quick to get the general placement. So we want the big one right here, and then we want to go right here and maybe right here. Did I have it up that far? Okay, so let me flip back around for you. How does that look to you guys? Okay, so what we're going to do is just glue these on. Now, if you wanted to bump this up and get a little dimension, you could totally put it on foam squares. How far in was I? Maybe right here. It's not that easy to scrapbook upside down. Do you guys know that? What I need to do is get a camera that's over me so I can just scrapbook normally and I won't be second guessing how everything looks. I gotta just pretend I know what I'm doing here. You have to tell me if I did something backwards, okay? Alright, we have our photos on, and what we're going to do is, I gotta look, we want to add some ribbon, and all I did for this was cut little strands and then made a little pennant banner on the end. So on this one, I'm gonna like fold it. This is not my tip-in technique. This is Carrie's, but you kind of kiss the ends and then cut in, and you'll get, oops, you get a perfect little banner. So that piece is going to go here, and then I want 2 more, I think, on the other side. And you know what? Do it the way you like it. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but I do like that little pennant end on my banners. You can barely see this ribbon. So if I lose a piece and I'm looking for it, you know why. It's really sheer and cool. All right. So we're gonna just put these down here. And I want one longer than the other, so I may just trim it again once I get this going. And again, I'm gonna use the multi-medium to put that on as soon as I dry my brush. It's so much easier than getting glue spots on that ribbon. So squirt some on your brush and just go ahead and add that right over. And this dries clear and you won't ever know it was here. Unlike glue, which would leave spots, the multi-medium is going to dry really clear. You know what else would be really fun to add to art journaling pages with the multi-medium are like newspaper cutouts. You could use your punch and cut out little hearts and stuff. That would be cute too. Anything that's really thin, tissue paper or like pattern napkins, those all would come on and add a really nice sheer type of layer and not overwhelm your page. You know what I did here? I like put this up too high. Don't want it that high. Let's go a little bit lower there. Okay, so we have our ribbon, and you know, once that dries, I'll trim off the edges. If anything pops up, we can glue it back on. No big deal. We're going to add our, I want to frame the photos a little bit. You know how stark they look on that page right now? So I'm going to go back to the gesso and just take a little bit. You can use what's in your cap. And I'm going to dry brush a bit off on my mat and go in on my pictures and kind of frame them. Now, if you don't like this look, that's totally cool, but I think it adds a bit of an artsy touch, plus it blends it into your page better. And you can bring the gesso on the outside of the frame or the photo edge as well to kind of create a frame. So go ahead and do that on all 3 of your photos. Okay. I can't believe I had 2 daughters get married last year, so I have like wedding pictures galore to get scrapbooked. So if you guys do any wedding pages or projects, would you like tag me on it so I can copy yours? This is Brianna, and she is my youngest daughter. She got married in December to Will, and they're just the sweetest couple. I love their photos. And then my other daughter, Brittany, got married in August. So we went from a hot summer wedding to a cold December wedding. They were really opposite. But isn't that how your kids are? They're opposite of each other. They don't like what the other one did. They do the extreme opposite. So there we go. We have the gesso on. And now what we're going to do is add some flowers. And what I did is I picked out this flower right here, and I made little hearts out of it. And I want to pick out some of the charcoal flowers just for some contrast on the page. Okay, so maybe 3 of those. And we are going to, where do I want the big one? I think we're going to fold that big one and we're going to put it right here. So I will talk as I work. Is that okay? We doing okay? Now you could totally staple these flowers on. I think that's what I would do if I did it again, because I think staples just add a fun little touch to your page. So I folded this flower in half, and I'm going to run it off the page right there and glue that on. And then I have a cute little flower down here kind of joining these two pictures so they run together. And then the other flower is going to go over here right there. And there you got your eye drawn you across the photos. Now for this flower, I thought the petals made cute little hearts. So what I'm going to do is cut hearts out of this. And they're going to go on my page, kind of scattered little love hearts all over the page. Okay, I may not use all of them, but it's a really cute idea. And if some of the hearts you want them smaller, just trim off part of this. You guys know how to cut hearts, right? Okay, so we want, let's see, how many did I use? I used 5. And I did cut some smaller. So if I was going to make it smaller, I'd probably fold it in half and do it like I learned in elementary school, how to cut those paper hearts. I know Carrie probably has never done this before, so she might learn something from me this class. So Carrie, if you never knew how to cut paper hearts, you need to give me credit now, okay? She's probably snorting coffee out of her mouth right now. So trim up your hearts, make them look cool. We're going to add one right here in the center of this flower. We want to have 2 down at the bottom of this, and then we want 2 more over here. And I need to trim these a bit because they're much bigger than I want them to be. You want your hearts different sizes, and then it just adds a really cool visual pleasantness to your page, because if everything's the same size, it just doesn't look as good. How you guys doing? Carrie's over there telling secrets. Woohoo! All right, if you want to know what's going on, you got to come into our chats, because we may just share extra special stuff that's going on. She's really not telling secrets. I'm just getting her in trouble. Okay, I already glued that one down. And you know what? I'm just going to glue right where the fold mark is so that it kind of pops up off the page a little bit. Love having dimension on the page. Oh, this heart looks pathetic. I probably didn't touch this one. Okay, if your heart looks really sad, just trim it up. I have 6 minutes. I think we're doing really, really well. You guys are such troopers. I haven't heard a peep out of you. Did I glue these down? You know what? I didn't glue them, did I? Okay, maybe I did and I totally forgot. Gosh, I think I'm going to lose my mind. So, let's trim off this and make it look a little bit neater. And all we have left is to add a couple little finishing touches. Just want to make sure I didn't forget anything on my original. We're going to go in, and this is where I think it's really cool. The finishing touches make a huge difference. So what I'm going to do is take, this is a Faber-Castell Art Grip Aquarelle, and it's their gold. And I'm going to go in around the photos. Now, it helps if your page is dry. So bear with me because mine's not totally dry. Like, I have gesso all over my fingers. And I'm sure it's all over the page. Just frame your photos on the photo itself. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Down into... You want to go around the photos and get some gold on your page too. Mine is wet, so I'm going to kind of avoid that right now. But this, I think, kind of ties in and kind of makes the photos blend into the page and coordinates that gold you put on the rest of the page. And it's okay to scribble on your page, and I'll scribble where the molding paste was later. So we got the gold added to the photos, and now we're going to add a little bit of Inca gold just randomly on the page. And we want to add a little bit of gesso randomly on the page. So just to shabby chic everything up and make it all coordinate. You know what? On Tuesday when I was teaching, I used a sponge for this to put it on, but that's the fancy way. Your finger will be perfect. Just wash your hands when you're done. So look at it, gold fingers. Isn't that a James Bond movie? So yeah. Get it on your finger. I can hear people groaning. You want to just liven this baby up. Wherever you think you need a little touch of gold. Am I getting off camera here? Let's do one page at a time. So the edges would be a cool spot to put it on. I got a little bit on my flowers. Now if my paste was totally dry, I'd be rubbing, well, that one's dry. Rub it on top of certain spots on your paste, and it's going to look really cool. So you kind of get the idea. Take your Inca gold, get it on your finger, and just add that golden touch to your project. Inca Gold is by Viva, and I found it clearanced at my Hobby Lobby. It's a waxy paste, and if you can't get that, a gold gelato would work. Or you could even take the gold foil color blooms and get a sponge and kind of sponge it on. I think all of those would work. Liquid pearls in gold might work too. This is just a drier rub, so it gives a different effect, I think. But nobody's going to know what you use. So use whatever you can find. And just get that gold touch on there. So what I want to do, I'm going to just hustle a little bit because I do want to add a little bit of gesso, and then I'm going to do a couple close-up shots. My hands are filthy. I need a wet wipe. Let me just wash this off real quickly. Now, the Inca Gold, it does come off your hands really well. But once it dries on anything you put it on, it is permanent. And that's why I really, really like it. It's a high quality, waxy kind of thick rub. You saw it's not goopy at all. So it's very cool product. So I'm going in to grab a little bit of gesso, and I do kind of want this to have a dry look. So anything I'm a little afraid of putting directly on the page, I put on my mat first. I'm going in, and this is just going to add a shabby chic look and kind of pull in the whole page. And if you think there's areas where your sprays got a little too dark, this is a great way to kind of lighten them up. You get the idea, right? So let me just show this page. I hope my camera can focus. Can you guys see that? Using the, someone is talking about the resist chalk edgers, you can add wet mediums and other techniques on top, and they're not going to activate. That's why they're so cool and different than our other chalk edgers. Our other chalk edgers are made to activate with water, so you can like watercolor with them and all kinds of stuff. But there's times when you just don't want your inks to blend and bleed, and that's why the resist ones are so good for that. All right. So, what else did I miss, Carrie? You think I got it all? Oh, you know what I did? I did forget an item. How could I forget this? Let me just add these in. For one, I have my pages crisscrossed. We want to add our wood icons. We have Mr. and Mrs. and then you and me over here. Gosh, how could I forget that? They add so much. And all I'm going to do is glue those on and then rub a little bit of the gold on top. So just adhere glue to the back of them. And you know how you get those little strings? I normally like keep a pin and just run it through and pull those off. So we got Mr. Can't believe my daughter's married. Aren't these cute? Now my hand's upside down. This, we've done wood icons before, but these are whitewashed, so that's really cool. Just waiting for my glue to come down, Carrie. I know I'm a minute over. So, while I'm waiting for the glue to drip down, I'll get a little bit of the Inca Gold on there. Yay, my glue's here. Okay, you and me, where do we want to put that? I'm going to bring it up this time a little bit. All right. Basically, the page is done. I'm just going to rub, you see how cool this gold is, like on the wood icons. You don't want to cover the whole thing, but just add a golden touch. And there we have it. So you guys did 2 pages. I should like get the scraps off of the page, right? You did 2 pages by doing the techniques on this one and then flipping them around and using that extra ink that was on your stencil and creating your second page. So really cool, fun. I hope you guys learned something new. Let me flip the camera up and see if you have any questions. I have messy hands, and that's always good. How'd you guys do? I am going to stop the recording and then just go to the chat and answer questions. You can see full shots of the technique and the pages on Live with Prima, our blog, and I'll be putting it on my blog too. This is what they look like finished. You can see each page turns out so differently. That's my original, and then these are the 2 we just did. And let me go on camera there. Definitely take these techniques, use them for whatever you want to do. Scrapbooking, art journaling, tags, or cards. So I want to thank you for joining the art journaling class today, and make sure you come back. We have lots of classes all day long, and stick with us. Prima has lots of fun going on.